Have you ever wondered why certain moments feel perfectly timed or questioned the limits of what's possible? What if I told you that the power to create your ideal life has always been within you? Stay tuned to discover how you can harness this infinite potential and rewrite your reality, starting today.
There's an extraordinary mystery that humanity will one day unravel, a revelation so profound it will transform our understanding of existence. The answer to this mystery isn't merely about how the universe operates, it also addresses why we exist in the first place. Pause what you're doing right now before life distracts you further and consider this. What if everything you've been taught about who you are, your past, your identity, even your very existence, was fundamentally flawed? John Wheeler, a physicist who collaborated with Einstein, quietly uncovered truths that challenge everything we believe about reality. He proposed that you aren't merely a fleeting human living a finite life. Instead, you are an eternal presence, an infinite being without beginning or end. Most people remain unaware of this truth, but you're here now for a reason. Once you see beyond the veil, you'll realize you've always known this truth deep down. Acting on this knowledge could change everything, but only if you dare to look deeper before it's too late. Since the day you were born, a story has been written for you, not by you, but for you. A name was given, roles assigned, boundaries drawn, and you accepted them because everyone else did too. Yet, deep inside, haven't you always felt something wasn't quite right? Haven't the limits imposed upon you, the ones you internalized as normal, felt alien, as though they weren't truly yours? What if I told you that this carefully constructed narrative of who you are is the greatest illusion of your life? John Wheeler, the physicist whose work revolutionized our understanding of quantum mechanics, discovered something astonishing: the participatory universe. This concept suggests that observing reality doesn't just reveal it, it creates it. You aren't a passive spectator in this universe, you're the director, writer, actor, and stage all rolled into one. Somewhere along the way, however, you forgot this truth. Think about it: every time you look in the mirror, you see a body and think, "This is me." But whose eyes are you looking through? Who's the one thinking that thought? Science tells us that the cells in your body are constantly dying and being replaced. The body you inhabit today isn't the same one you had 10 years ago. Even your brain, often considered the control center, has rewired itself countless times. If your body is always changing, how can it possibly define who you are? Wheeler's discoveries go deeper. He proved that time itself isn't what we think it is. What you call the past and future constructs a kind of mental framework giving the illusion of movement. In reality, everything is happening now. The you from yesterday and the you from tomorrow aren't separate entities, they're threads woven into the same infinite fabric, and you are the loom. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine reality as a movie reel, where each frame exists simultaneously. What you perceive as time is merely the projection of these frames in sequence. Here's the divine truth: the movie only plays because you're watching it. Wheeler's participatory universe reveals that without an observer, reality doesn't exist. Your awareness isn't just part of the equation, it is the equation. This means you aren't bound by the story you've been told. You aren't a fixed character in some divine script. You are the pen, the page, and the ink, and you've been writing this story all along. But what happens when the pen forgets it's the author? That's where the illusion of the ego comes in. The ego is like a mischievous shadow whispering in your ear that you're small, separate, and powerless. It feeds on fear, thrives on doubt, and convinces you that the world is happening to you rather than through you. But here's what they don't tell you: the ego is a glitch, a program running on a loop. Imagine wearing a headset that convinces you you're lost in a dense, terrifying forest. You hear growls of unseen predators, feel the cold air clawing at your skin, and panic. You fight, you run, but the moment you take off the headset, you realize the forest wasn't real, it was a projection. This is the nature of the ego, a filter that distorts reality, making you believe you're something you're not. The longer you wear it, the more you forget what's real. Wheeler's theories dismantle this illusion. He showed that reality doesn't operate like a cold, indifferent machine. It's fluid, alive, and responsive. Every thought, emotion, and choice you make sends ripples through the fabric of existence. You are the observer, the creator, the architect of this grand design. Most people never realize this because they never remove the headset. Do you feel it yet, that quiet, persistent knowing that everything you've ever doubted about yourself might actually be true? That the limits you've accepted, the fears you've carried, were never really yours? You've experienced glimpses of this before, moments of synchronicity when you thought of someone just before they called, or when life seemed to align in ways that defied explanation. Wheeler's work tells us this isn't coincidence. It's the universe responding to your awareness. But what happens when you stop seeing it as random and start wielding it intentionally? That's when the shift begins. That's when you stop being the wave tossed and turned by the ocean and remember that you are the ocean itself, vast, infinite, unstoppable. Imagine this: you've been playing a role in a story so convincing, so detailed, that you forgot it was just that, a role. Everything you've labeled as me or name, memories, struggles, even victories, are like costumes and props in a theater production. They feel real because you've invested so much in them, rehearsing them over and over again. But deep down, you've always suspected there's something more. Wheeler's discoveries confirm it. You aren't just playing a role, you're the playwright, the director, and the stage itself. The twist is this: the moment you realize this, the script changes. Consider a whirlpool in a river. It seems separate, doesn't it? It has a distinct shape, its own motion, its own identity. But is it really separate, or is it simply the river in motion, a temporary form in an infinite flow? You are that whirlpool. Everything you call you, your thoughts, emotions, body is like the swirling water, constantly shifting and changing. But the river, the awareness beneath it all, has no beginning and no end. Wheeler described this beautifully when he talked about the universe as a self-excited circuit, a loop that exists because it observes itself. You aren't a passive passenger in this loop. You are its source. Pause for a moment and consider this. If everything you think you are is constantly changing, then what remains? Who or what is observing those changes? Who is the constant witness behind every thought, emotion, and experience? Close your eyes and feel it. That still, unchanging awareness. That's you, not the you that plays roles or tells stories, but the real you. Wheeler's work reveals that this awareness isn't just personal. It's universal. The same awareness that observes your life observes the universe itself, the stars, galaxies, the entire divinity, all arising within this infinite field of awareness. And you are that field. Now here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. Wheeler's idea of the participatory universe means that not only are you observing reality, but you're shaping it. Think about the implications of that. Every thought you have, every intention you set, every emotion you feel sends ripples through the fabric of existence. The observer effect shows that particles don't exist in a fixed state until they're observed. The universe isn't a machine, it's a symphony, and you're the conductor. Every note you play shapes the melody of your life. But here's the thing most people miss: the ego hates this truth. It fights it, clings to the illusion of control, convincing you that you're separate, small, and powerless. Why? Because the ego thrives on fear and limitation. The moment you see through it, it loses its grip. It's like stepping out of a dark room into sunlight. Suddenly, everything is clear. Once you've seen the light, you can never unsee it. Most people glimpse the truth but don't integrate it. They see the illusion but don't step beyond it. This is your opportunity to go further, to step fully into the awareness that you aren't just a participant in this universe, you are its creator. The decisions you make, the thoughts you choose to entertain, the beliefs you hold, these are the building blocks of reality. Wheeler called it from bit, the idea that everything we see and experience emerges from yes or no decisions, binary choices. Every moment of your life is an opportunity to decide: will I believe in the illusion of separation, or will I remember my infinite nature? Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. You can continue living as the character in the story, reacting to the plot as it unfolds, or you can take control of the pen and start writing the story you were meant to live. And here's the most important part: you've always had this power. It's been there waiting for you to remember. Wheeler's work isn't just a scientific theory, it's a roadmap back to your true self, a self that is limitless, timeless, and inseparable from the universe itself. This is your moment to wake up. Are you ready? Let's go even deeper, beyond what most people dare to confront. Think about everything you've ever feared: loss, failure, rejection, death. Where do those fears come from? They come from the belief that you're separate from the world around you, that there's a line between you and everything else. But here's the truth: that line doesn't exist. It's like drawing a boundary in the ocean and pretending the water on one side is different from the water on the other. Wheeler's participatory universe proves this illusion of separation is exactly that, an illusion. The universe doesn't exist as something out there. It exists because you perceive it, and because of that, you're never separate from it. You're the ocean, not the drop. Bring this to life with something you can feel. Close your eyes and imagine a moment when you felt completely connected, watching a sunset, hearing a song that moved you, standing under a sky full of stars. In that moment, there was no you and other. There was just an overwhelming sense of being. That wasn't coincidence. That was reality showing you its true face. In that moment, you weren't observing the universe, you were the universe. That connection you felt wasn't fleeting. It's who you are underneath the noise of the ego. The problem is, most people spend their entire lives drowning in that noise, never realizing the silence was there all along. This is why the idea of death terrifies us so much. We think it's the end. But how can something infinite have an end? Wheeler's theories make this crystal clear. Time isn't linear. It's not a straight line with a beginning and an end. It's a loop, a spiral, an eternal now. What you think of as your past and future are simply perspectives within this infinite present. And here's the part that changes everything. If you were never truly born, how can you ever truly die? Your awareness doesn't begin or end. It simply shifts, like a wave returning to the ocean. You don't disappear. You become everything. But let's not stop there. This isn't just about understanding that you're timeless and infinite. It's about living it. What does it mean to step into this truth? It means you no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You realize every challenge, every heartbreak, every loss was never something happening to you. It was the universe reshaping itself through you, teaching you, guiding you. When you stop resisting that flow, life transforms. The struggles lose their grip. The fear dissolves. You realize that the very thing you've been running from was the key to your liberation. Think about how often you've blamed yourself for not being enough, smart enough, strong enough, successful enough. What if those feelings were never yours to begin with? What if they were just part of the ego's story, designed to keep you small? Wheeler's discoveries show that you're not here to prove yourself. You're here to create, to explore, to remember. The universe doesn't judge you. It responds to you. Every thought, belief, and emotion shapes the fabric of reality. If you believe you're limited, that's what you'll see. But the moment you remember your true nature, the moment you realize you're not the wave but the ocean, everything shifts. Right now, you might be feeling a mix of emotions, curiosity, excitement, maybe even fear. That's normal. The ego doesn't like being challenged. It will fight to keep you in the story you've been living, to keep you asleep. But you have a choice. You can let the ego keep running the show, or you can step beyond it. This isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering what you've always been, infinite, timeless, whole. The question is, are you ready to see it? Because once you do, there's no turning back. The truth will set you free, but only if you let it. Let's break through the final layer of illusion, the one that keeps most people trapped without even realizing it. Think about how much time you've spent searching for meaning, love, success, validation. But here's the paradox: the more you search, the further away it feels. It's like chasing your shadow. No matter how fast you run, it's always just out of reach. Wheeler's work holds the key to this mystery. He showed us that reality isn't something you find. It's something you create. And here's the truth that will blow your mind: everything you've been searching for has been within you all along. Imagine reality as a canvas, completely blank until you decide what to paint on it. Most people paint unconsciously, letting old fears and beliefs dictate the picture. They don't realize they're holding the brush. But the moment you wake up to this, the moment you see that your thoughts and beliefs shape the canvas, everything changes. Wheeler called this the participatory anthropic principle. The universe doesn't just exist because of you. It exists for you, responding to your every choice, your every vibration. So, what kind of universe are you creating right now? Is it one filled with fear and limitation, or is it one of infinite possibility? Here's the part most people miss: when you shift your awareness, the universe shifts with you. This isn't just metaphysical. It's physics. Wheeler's it from bit theory proves that, at the most fundamental level, reality is built from choices: yes or no, believe or doubt, fear or trust. Every single choice creates ripples that shape what you experience. But here's where it gets even more profound. The choice doesn't have to be big. A single thought, a single moment of awareness, can send a shockwave through your entire existence. You've felt this before, haven't you? Those moments when everything seems to align, when it feels like the universe is speaking directly to you. That's not random. That's you stepping into your power as a creator. Now let's take this even deeper. Think about the stories you've been told about what's possible. How many of them have you believed without question? Stories about who you are, what you can achieve, what life is supposed to look like. But here's the secret they don't want you to know. Those stories aren't real. They're programs handed down to you by people who are trapped in their own illusions. Every time you accept one of those stories, you give away a piece of your power. Wheeler's discoveries show that reality isn't fixed. It's fluid, like a river that bends and shifts with every turn of your awareness. The question is, will you keep flowing with someone else's current, or will you start carving your own path? Take a moment right now and ask yourself, who am I? Not the roles you play, not the labels you've been given, but the awareness asking the question. Feel it. That's the real you. And here's the most empowering truth. This awareness isn't bound by your past, your circumstances, or your fears. It's infinite, limitless, unstoppable. But here's the catch. Most people never realize this. They stay asleep, trapped in the ego's illusion, believing they're separate from the universe. They live their entire lives as waves, never realizing they've always been the ocean. But you're different? You're here listening to this because a part of you already knows the truth. A part of you has been waiting for this moment to remember. This is your turning point. You can let this knowledge fade into the background, just another idea you forget about tomorrow. Or you can take the leap. You can choose to step into the truth of who you really are, to claim your role as the creator of your reality. Wheeler's work isn't just a theory. It's an invitation to stop searching and start creating, to stop living as the effect and start living as the cause. Because the truth is, you are never small, never powerless, never separate. You've always been infinite. The universe is waiting for you to remember. So, what will you create next? The choice is yours. It always has been.